it's Mo. It is December and it's time to look back at our book lists. Our whole bookish community is doing this. They're making new lists for 2023 and the new year. They're looking back at old lists. I'm gonna go all the way back to 2020 and take a look at the 20 books I found out about in 2020 that I want to read in 2021. So these lists are ones that I make every year. I had one for this year that was the 21 books I found out about in 2021 that I want to read in 2022. And yes, you guessed it, I will be making a 22 books that I found out about in 2022, but I want to read in 2023 list. You will see those other two lists coming soon, but the first list I have read quite a bit off of, and I did do a reaction video for already. If you want to see my original reaction to the 20 books I found out about in 2020 list, you can see that linked down below. For the second incarnation of this video, I'm not going to go back and watch my video again. There's no need to do that, but I am going to check my bullet journal with my 20 books that I found out about in 2020, but I want to read in 2021 list, and let you know what they all were, let you know if I've read them, let you know if I'm still interested in them, and let's find out how many books off this list I still need to read. So the 20 books were Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wabashig Rice, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Jackson, The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, The Water Cure by Sophie McIntosh, Ring Shout by P. Jelly Clark, The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss, The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd-Jones, 84 Charing Cross Road by Helene Hanff, Darius the Great Is Not Okay by Abdib Karam, When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender, The Murders of Molly Southbourne by Tade Thompson, Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Tozukashu Kawaguchi, Beach Read by Emily Henry, and The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. So those were the 20 books that I had found out about in the year of 2020. That was the first year I came to Booktube. That was my first time really getting Booktube recommendations and finding out all these new books, finding out about new genres, wanting to read about hyped books, wanting to read about queer books, and all sorts of things that people on Booktube that I had just discovered were talking about. So out of these books, I have read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, The Space Between Worlds, Riot Baby, Ring Shout, 84 Charing Cross Road, When No One Is Watching, The City We Became, The Murders of Molly Southbourne, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Beach Read, and House in the Cerulean Sea. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So those are 12 out of the 20 books that I have read. Now, I read most of those in 2021, but I did read The Space Between Worlds, Riot Baby, and Ring Shout in 2022. And I do own one more. I do own The Bone Houses. So I have had this one since the end of 2021, but I just have never quite gotten around to it. But out of the 8 that are remaining, I am still super interested in Moon of the Crusted Snow. This is a post-apocalyptic winter indigenous tale of how a community deals with the breakdown of the outside world and how this isolated community survives or tries to survive when they are left entirely on their own. I'm still interested in the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I do have a different Grady Hendrix book, My Best Friend's Exorcism, that I might get to before this one, but this is one that people keep telling me that I will like, and it is a vampire book, which I do read quite a few of, so it would be good to add another one to the list of those that I've read. I'm still interested in Darius the Great is Not Okay because this is a queer story, and I feel similarly to Felix Ever After, this is a trans story. Those are both young adult books, so they're definitely lower on my priority list, but they are things that I would still like to read. Books that I'm not interested in anymore. Definitely The Coldest Girl in Cold Town. Now, this is a vampire story as well, but it's a 500-page YA book, and I just don't think it's for me. I'm no longer interested in The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. I still like the premise of this, but the more I hear about it, the more I think it's going to be skewed too young as well, and in the last year or so, I have really come to realize that I'm not much of a YA reader. And I'm also no longer interested in Matt Haig's The Midnight Library. This was one that had so much hype when I first made this video, and it sounded really interesting. It was like a tale of the afterworld and the potential changes that you would make if you knew how you were going to die and what your life was going to be like. But the more I have heard about it, the more like kind of sappy and saccharine it has seemed to me. And I did try to read The Humans by Matt Haig, and I didn't really enjoy it. In my first BXXKmas try chapter, I did read a few chapters of The Radleys by Matt Haig, and I was enjoying that. So there are Matt Haig books that I'm going to give a try, but The Midnight Library is probably not going to be one of them. So those were the 20 books that I found out about in 2020, but I wanted to read in 2021. Most of the ones I have read, I read in 2021. Some of them I read in 2022, and there's at least 4 that I'm still pretty interested in reading, and at least 1 that I'm super interested in reading. I would love to find these books, and if I do, I might do a vlog where I read some of them to try and finish out my list. Let me know what you thought of all these titles. Let me know if you've read any of them, if there were any of them you really, really loved. I think my favorites off the list are The Murders of Molly Southbourne and 84 Charing Cross Road. Let me know if any of the books that I'm no longer interested in you think I should take a second look at or you think would be worth my time. And let me know out of the 4 books that I still have left to read if there are any of those that you're really, really interested in. I'll be back with my reaction to my 21 books that I found out about in 2021 that I wanted to read in 2022 list pretty soon. In the meantime, I hope you're having a great day, reading lots of good things. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!